Hi, friends. I have a passage here from First Corinthians, the letter of Paul to the Corinth, the first one, in chapter 3, verse 4. And Paul kind of asks a question. He says, "For when one person says, 'I follow Paul,' and another, 'I follow Apollos,' are you not being merely human?" Now, that's what's called a rhetorical question, because you're supposed to look at that and say, well, I guess we most certainly are just being merely human. The church in Corinth, which we can be thankful in a way that they could seem to do nothing right because they had problems with sides of different practice and they didn't understand some things about Christian teaching. Paul goes on at some length to set them straight, and the first thing they were doing was not getting on and splitting into factions, and factions centered around particular personalities. Uh, there are things that are frankly worth fighting about. That God has come to change this world. That Jesus is the judge of the living and the dead. That there is a resurrection. Well, I don't so much want to hit anybody over the head with that, but these are firm truths, and we shall stand on them. But particular personalities, no. I've never met the personality that I thought was worth breaking up a church for. So when Paul says, one of you says, "I follow Paul. I'm a Paul guy," and another one says, "I'm an Apollos person." Well, let's not do that. Paul says you're being merely human. Nothing wrong with being human, but when God has touched our hearts, we can be so much more. We can be born again. We can be spiritual people. In other words, people sourced by God's Spirit. We can be people whose inner lives are aligned with God, and they're ruling our passions and opinions, and even our flesh. Do not just be merely human. Be spiritual. Be touched by the presence of Christ today. Amen.